a top to bottom look to see why are the courts failing so often and so far above ahead of the intended lifespan of the surfaces that we put in. So we asked Klein and Associates to take a look and produce the report that's in your city council packet. And essentially, what the problem is while the location is excellent for wind protection of the courts, what you have is a silty, sandy soil that's sitting on top of compacted volcanic ash that it makes a slick surface underneath. And so what you can really sort of picture in your mind is a bathtub filled with sandy dirt, and then and then add to that our wet climate, and that's the situation that we put some asphalt courts on. What would be a real fix for the situation? And that's the table that's on page 4. And I have highlighted in green what is the cheapest cost per projected usable playing year of the tennis courts. And that's the very cheapest option is if we could find another buildable site to put these courts. We don't have one right now. There is no suggested alternative site, but if
courts that are at the Eagle Park are pickleball courts, is that correct?
There are pickleball courts. There are 3 dedicated pickleball courts, and there are 2 tennis courts that are also multiple use, so they have lines on them for pickleball, and they have a basketball.
The only site that we could think of where we have site control is Friendship Park. And so I asked Klein and Associates to look at that because it appears from an aerial view to fit the courts, but the grade on the back end of that would require so much shoring up as it slopes down towards the fire department that, again, we're talking over $1 million.
I do not believe that site is something we should continue to sink large dollars into. I think that it's built on a swamp. Getting a partnership going with the city, the school district, and Parks and Rec, and maybe the county is to find a permanent solution for, whether it's 4 or 6 or 8 courts is what we should be spending our real effort on. And that then it comes to this is like, okay, what do we do for the now? And though I understand your recommendation, Will, to me it's like, how do we get 3 years or at the outside 5 years of play for the high school team and stuff on those courts? And if we could spend some very small number of tens of thousands of dollars to get to that 5-year period as opposed to the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, I think that's, in my mind, that's the win for that site.
I agree with Mark. I don't think we should invest any more money at this site because it has been going on for a long time. But even if we're going to spend a small amount of money, if the city is going to spend a small amount of money, I think we should ask the school district to partner with us. I mean, it seems, from what we've been hearing, that it's really, important to the school district. Like it's, looking at the amount of money that the school district just put into like the football field, that they should be able to perhaps contribute.
Immensely. And so the other benefit of going slowly is there's probably, and this is to some of the other counselors' points, there's people in the community who would have a soft spot in their heart to know that this wonderful location might be, just not capable of continuing, at least as currently envisioned and budgeted. So there could be an upswelling of support. We saw Waterfront Park draw on enormous community resources. All of Megan's hard work for the Children's Park, another example of community resources. We have a broader coalition of community partners like the Rotary Club. I mean, there just is an opportunity, and this, no one disagrees with anything I'm saying. I'm just pointing out, if we give ourselves a little time for word to sort of seep out in the community that this beloved court might be at risk, we could see the community step up in a way that could either save it or make its alternative more palatable or fast coming.
That quote would be for that, adding that grit back in and repainting and relining it. And then they're fixing the few cracks, and it does say that they'll fix the cracks, but it's not a permanent thing. The cracks would reappear. So that's what that's like 3 to 5 year, hopefully, the resurfacing would provide is a more competitive surface.
And what was the amount for that?
So that quote, which is from 2020, was for 3 courts, and I believe it said $21,000. So then you'd have to add in the other court, which I guess would be another $7,000.
Mostly what I was going to do is just reach out to the superintendent and the county administrator and the executive director for Parks and Rec, and just let them know when you're ready, we have appropriated money and we'd like to partner. And see what comes back.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea to put it in the context of all of the parks that we're working on, rather than make an outlier decision on this particular thing, since it's so complicated. And in the meantime, reach out, as Mark and Tim suggested, to Parks and Rec and the schools. I think that's a great idea. I'm not for spending any money at all until we kind of see how fast this might move or not. And if it looks like it's not going to move fast at all, then maybe talk about spending a small amount of money for repair. But let's just see how fast we can get it moving first, and what kind of traction we can get.